Welcome to Call for Wisdom. My name is Deborah. And my sisters, this is a show for sisters. I got some sad news for you. The marketplace has crashed. The marriage marketplace has crashed. And we are in big trouble if you're single. Because men are not getting married anymore. No, they don't want it. It doesn't matter how good it is, they don't want it. The sexual marketplace, the marriage marketplace has crashed. What are you going to do about it? Welcome to Call for Wisdom. My name is Deborah, and we're going to talk about this today. My show is all for the single women, married women too. All of us have to prepare for biblical polygyny, meaning one man, many wives. We got to share. I know it's hard. Brace yourself. You got to share. And I'm not talking about, cheating. No, I mean righteously share. Like really, really with a covenant marriage situation. Share like that. Like he is all legit. Share. That's the new form of marriage. And it's actually not new. Not at all. Y'all prepared this for us centuries ago. We were practicing it more than 100 years ago, even less than that. And if you're of African descent, it was just yesterday. We knew about polygyny. We knew that we had to share. And not what? We also knew that that was the nature of men. That's their nature, to have more than one woman and to desire more than one wife. So welcome to Call for Wisdom. Brace yourself, my sisters. It ain't so bad. It's actually wonderful. When you get the concept, when you get the revelation, the light bulb switches on. Monogamy only, that kind of doctrine gets out the door. Prescription monogamy out the door. And welcome to polygyny. Welcome, my sisters. We are here and we are going to do it. We're going to do it through the Bible, the BLELB. I'm going to show you the Torah. Pick it up because this is a Bible study for my sisters. And if you are a brother, you're welcome to sit at the back, cheer us on, encourage us in prayer. But I'm speaking to my sisters. And if you don't know the Bible and you don't follow the Torah, it might not vibe with you because you don't have a rule book. And I'm not talking about polyandry, because polyandry is like have sex with anybody kind of thing without a rule book. But once you follow the Torah, the Bible, Yah has already set the order of his kingdom for his children, and there's no polyandry here. When he says, monogamy, and when I'm talking about monogamy, I mean a man choosing to follow one wife, sorry, and he can choose that, right? It is an option. And some men choose to also be celibate, and that's an option. They don't have to. They don't have to have many wives if they don't want to. It is an option that a man has, right? To be celibate, to be a eunuch, and also to have one wife, optional. But guess who's not in charge of the choices here, my sisters? It's you and I, right? Because biologically, Yah also gave man the capacity to have more than one wife, and he regulated it. He never condemned it, and he used it as a means to build the kingdom. Guess what gates we're going to go into when you get to the kingdom? And I'm planning to be there. We're going to go through one of the 12 gates. And guess what? All 12 tribes in the kingdom were created by a polygynous family. Polygynous. The whole shaboo is made through 4 wives, right, of Jacob that had children, 12 children from different wives. And that was all righteous. They're not bastard sons up there in heaven. And there's no adulterer allowed there. These are all righteous men having righteous family structure, and Yah chose them as examples for us. So it is not forbidden. It's actually holy and righteous and a beautiful thing when we embrace it. And my sisters, this is why I'm here on Call for Wisdom. I mean, maybe eventually I'll get off the topic of polygyny for a while, but biblical marriage is so important and is vital for modern girls, modern women right now to embrace. Why? Because there is a marketplace crash. Crash. I mean, it's gone. Look at us. Look at this hookup culture. Hookup culture galore. Everybody's just giving out the sex of panani for free, right? You don't need to get married to have that. You don't need to be a virgin anymore either. I mean, virginity has lost its value in modern Western society, not in the ancient ones back there, but here we're treating virginity like it's nothing. Actually, I know of a woman who recently passed by my space, and she just gave it up for nothing just because she wanted to check it off the list. It's like no big deal. It's like, I have this little wart called virginity, and let me just scratch it out there because it gives me some shame in my social settings because I want to be one of the cool girls. It has lost so much value. The whole marketplace has crashed. And why I say that, because there's something called sexual economy. And if you think about it in the Bible, we always, and in societies, I'm going to put my glasses on here so I can see. In societies in general, there's always been this economical exchange between men and women, right? So the men in a patriarchal society had the land, had the houses, had the authority to rule, and it's still this way in the Bible and in our Hebrew culture. So they are the leaders and they have the resources, right? And then they exchange those resources for family so that they can contribute and build their family. So they use the resources to get more women and to bear more children and to expand their empire. And when they approach a woman, if she is covered, which she should be, he goes to the father and she negotiates and he pays the bride price. There's even a greater bride price when the woman is a virgin, untouched, fresh land. Nobody petted her, nobody entered into her, you know? Great bride price. And the man would sacrifice a whole lot for her. Now, the great thing about that is that he knew in his back of his mind back then that if he worked even harder and had more wealth and developed it and grew with this woman, that he can go out and get another wife. Ta-da! Ta-da! Wealth grew, family grew, wealth grew, family grew. Get the groove, my sisters? That's normal. That's how it worked in the Bible. That's how it worked in our ancestry, especially if you're an African ancestry. Even in Asia, I mean, the Arabs are still doing it, right? Polygyny. Now, when you have wealth as a man, obviously, the goal was not to have bigger cars. The goal was not to have, per se, bigger houses, although you could because you're growing as a family. But let's just say you had one wife. What is the point if you have all this money and wealth as a man and you have all the testosterone and all the sperm and all the capacity to multiply? Would you just choose to have one wife if you had the money, the means, and the strength and the ability and health to use that and grow a family, right? But now in our individualistic prescription monogamy society, we have lost track of what true wealth and true kingdom means. Now we want the men to focus and the women to focus on material things like the bag and getting more cars and having more vacations and more experiences of material things and losing the value of children. I mean, come on. The birth rates around the whole world are going down. We've lost our value for growing family. We've seen children as a financial burden. Mind you, my grandparents on both my father and mother's side, they didn't see it that way. They knew, and they have not lost track back then, that having a big family is the sign of wealth, and having land to work on, the land to produce. It was great. They were working their own land. They were having their many children, and they were multiplying. And yes, they lived in humble homes, but that was not seen as an insult. The wealth was in the family, in the relationships, in the land, and in growing and being able to feed your family through the land, not going to Walmart for it, not having to depend on social handouts from the government for it. My grandparents worked hard for it. And they saw the value of family. And so they had a lot of children. Yeah, lots of children. And they were not necessarily monogamous. No, the mothers, the wives were faithful to their husbands, but traditionally in my culture, they had unofficially, many wives, right? And if you're of African Caribbean descent, you know what I mean. Many wives, many women. And they had no shame about it in terms of women shaming each other. Because why? Why would you do that? A man is allowed to biblically to have more than one wife. And it is important to know that, because now I think the reason for the sexual and the marriage marketplace crash is what we're talking about today. The primary reasons for it, and I have two primary reasons for it, is number one, prescriptive monogamy being the definition for marriage. And number two is the divorce rates and why it's not good for men to go to the state anymore to get a state license, right? So for those two main reasons, the marketplace has crashed. And we're going to sit there and discuss this a little bit. None of this is new to you, especially if you have been alive and well, watching what's going on in social media and seeing for yourself what people are saying around you. You know that we're not getting married at the race anymore. And we also know that women are hanging around in relationships saying, oh, I don't know, I'm giving him an ultimatum. I want him to be hitting the road because he's not giving me the ring, and he doesn't want to go to the state. He doesn't want to go march himself to the state and write a piece of paper saying we're married. So he's not faithful and he's not committed to me. That's what we say. And we gauge a man's commitment by his ability or willingness to sacrifice himself to the state. And I call it sacrifice for a reason. I'm going to show you why. But first, let's hear from a man himself. I mean, there's a lot of men out there, but I'm going to share you one I saw on TikTok talking about why they don't want to get married anymore. Let's figure it out. Let's see.
Most guys nowadays have kind of given up on the idea of marriage because we realize that it's really just one big trap. There's nothing in it for us. We take all the risk, and all the benefit is on the female side.
I would say, why change something that is good? You're in a relationship. Why are you going to get married? It's going to get worse. There's going to be more financial tension. Weddings are expensive as it is. Divorce rates are alarmingly high. And once you're married, you are at the mercy of that woman's expectations. Forget about that. Hell no.
Yeah, plus it's going to get to a point where you're both going to get bored of each other. She has the freedom to leave, but you don't.
No, I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck and see my future with her and my future personally go down the drain, pretty much, because she can screw you over at a snap of a finger.
Exactly.
One of the reasons why men run from marriage is because of what it requires from them. Some of the things that I think are required from men in marriage are accountability, transparency, and vulnerability. And if you think about what men are told to be, is really the opposite of that, right? They're meant to be guarded, strong, hypermasculine, not let their guard down. And marriage requires you to strip all of that back and be seen. Marriage really requires you to stand in the light, stand in front of your partner with all of the things that you've been hiding from the rest of the world visible, and break. And this breaking sometimes requires tears, but really it's a man saying, this is where it hurts. This is where I've hidden myself from everybody else. And these are where my wounds are, really. I feel for any marriage to be successful, a man must be able to feel he can break.
Okay. We're going to stop this sister here because, she's going to go on with the women's excuses of why men don't want to get married. It's because they don't want to be vulnerable, or they're just, insecure. Trying to shame men about that, right? Thinking that they're being selfish, or they're just have a commitment issue, whatever that means. And commitment issue, I'll define it. Commitment issue means they don't want to go to the state, my sisters. And why don't they want to go hopping to the state? They don't want to go hopping down to the state and ask for a certificate. It's not because they don't have the money. It's not because they can't afford the wedding. It's because they don't want to be slaves to the government. By signing that document, handing it over to you, you sign it to the three of you, the state, and the husband are involved in this unbiblical covenant, right? Not even a covenant, it's a contract, and involving the state, which gives you as a woman power over the man, so that if you choose to walk out, again, Bible doesn't give you the option like that, but the state does. If you say, oh, I'm unhappy, I feel economically stressed and emotionally neglected, and he's not meeting my needs, so I want out of this relationship. Now, I'm not talking about those of you who are in, and you shouldn't be in, but if you are in an physically abusive situation, then hop over to the police and get yourself sorted. But I'm talking about those of you who are not, Why, when you get that divorce, right, or the ability to divorce, you have some sense of power over the relationship so that there is an exit, there's a door that you can walk out of, right? Through the government giving you the power to walk out with half his wealth, like the guy said before. His children are negotiable. You can get full custody. You can also get alimony for life, which is insane. I mean, the guy's not really done with you, but you got his money. This is just insane. And then on top of that, you can walk around saying whatever you want about him cheating because you believed in monogamy only. And that's really what the certificate is signing him up to, monogamy only. And that prescription monogamy, prescriptive mean that it's a legal document. You have to do it this way, not by his choice, monogamy agreement is why we are now in a marriage market collapse. And it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better, my sisters. Hold on, because it's already been predicted. I'm sure you've heard it on the news already, that 48 to 50% and actually more of women are going to be single and childless by 2030, which is just 5 years down the road. Single, and childless. No man is going to be joining you all going down there and signing up for marriage. And a few of you, I know you got some summer weddings planned. Hold on to your man. Don't go jumping out the door when he decides that he wants another wife. Because once men are getting this great revelation and their eyes are getting open that there is another option, that it doesn't have to be the end of the world, that this is not a dooms, although I started with some doomsday music. It's not doomsday music because right now we are in a shift. We are in prophecy. Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is what I'm going to read. And I have read it before with you all, but let's read it again, right? Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, and then we're going to go to Timothy. And again, welcome to Call for Wisdom, my sisters. If you like it so far, like, subscribe, hit a button there, and just let's just go here and read this, okay? So Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 is a prophecy that Isaiah put about the end times and about the state of us sisters, right? I'm going to pull it up in Bible Gateway too, but I like my little Bible here. Let me do that for you. Bible Gateway, so you guys can read it along. Although I like my Bible. Okay. Isaiah. Chapter 4, verse 1, okay? Isaiah chapter 4. And it says here, can you see it? Should I share the screen with you? Maybe I'll do that for you. Here we go. Okay, let's read along here. It says, for 7 women will take hold of one man in that day, saying, we will eat our own bread, we will wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by your name. Take away our reproach. Now, I like to get the context of that. And that was not really the plan for this little episode, but I think I need to do that. So let's go to verse 3, chapter 3. And you will see what I mean. Right? Isaiah chapter 3. At the bottom of chapter 3, it kind of leads into chapter 4 because there was no chapters when the Bible was written, when the books of the Bible were written, didn't have verses like that. It just helps us find them, right? So we're going to start in chapter 3 and we're going to go to the judgment. So verse 13, okay? And let's read that nice little portion here. So it says here, the Lord arises to contend and stand to judge the people. The Lord enters into judgment with the elders and the princes of his people. It is you who have devoured the vineyard. So the elders and the princes have devoured, eaten the vineyard. The plunder of the poor is in your houses. What do you mean by crushing my people and grinding the face of the poor, declares the Lord, God of hosts. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are proud and walk with heads high and seductive eyes. Interesting, ain't the words? Because this is about prophecy. Seductive eyes. But the kids about the eyelashes these days that we are proud. We are so proud. I don't need no man. I am discentering man. If you are a daughter of Zion, believe in the Bible, believe in Yeshua, Jesus, and follow and want to get to heaven and all that stuff. Hallelujah. If you have that kind of sister, that kind of attitude, let's just gather together. Let's just come closer. Let's read this, right? Verse 16. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are proud and walk with heads high and seductive eyes and go along with mincing steps on their high heels, and twinkling the bangles on their feet. Therefore, the Lord will afflict the scalp of the daughters of Zion with scabs. And the Lord will make their foreheads bare. My sisters, this is prophecy we're talking about. How many of you, when you take off the wig, my black sister, when you take off the wig, do you have hair? Do you have a hairline? Do you got a little bit of, alopecia going on and scabs? I mean, this is no joke. This is serious. I know. It's just about us. I must say, this is prophecy coming true because we're so ashamed of our hair that we are trying to wear wigs, right? But we are ashamed of it because, hey, this is the point we're getting to, and God is going to take it out anyway because he wants to humble us. In that day, verse 18, in that day, the Lord will take away the beauty of their ankles and their headbands and their crests and ornaments and the dangling earrings and the bracelets and the veils and the headdresses and the ankle chains and the slashes and the perfume boxes. Oh my goodness, you get the pattern, yeah? You get the pattern of what Yah is speaking to us, sisters, about. In that day, which is right now, in that day, amulets and finger rings and nose rings. Interesting, which is really fashion. Talk about the last days. Uh-huh. Oh my goodness. Festive robes and outer tunics and cloaks and money purses. Get the bags, eh? You're going to go get the Gucci bags, the hand mirrors and the undergarments, even the lingerie. Yeah, even that one. He's taking them away, the turbans and the veils. Now, verse 24, now it will come about that instead of sweet perfume, there will be a purification, stinkiness. Instead of bites and robes, instead of well set here, plucked out scalps. Okay, my sisters, you got to grasp the gravity of this. The reason why I'm even reading this with you right now is because wake up. We are in a crisis. The marriage market has crashed. Men are not lining up to marry you anymore. They can line up to bang you. They will line up to knock you out. If you want to be a 304, they got lots and lots and lots of room on the bed for that. No problem, right? But men are not lining up to covenantly marry anymore. There's a shortage of men who want to marry women. And the definition of marriage in the West is the problem because we have limited these men to monogamy only, prescriptive monogamy, and the certificate, state certificate, the blasphemous, deceptive certificate called a marriage certificate. And men are saying, no way, I don't want that. I don't want to sign up for that. The certificate, and I don't want to be held down by one woman. I don't want that. I'd rather be single. And that's what's happening right now. And what has happened to us is what I'm talking about. This is what Isaiah is going to say. So when they choose to do this, this is what we're going to be facing. And we are facing it already. We are there. This is now. Verse 24, right? He's taking all this away from us. Let's go again. Now it will come about that instead of sweet perfume, there will be a purification instead of a belt of robe, instead of a well set hair, and instead of your wigs, plucked out scalp, instead of fine clothing donned in sackcloth. Why are we donning ourselves in sackcloth? Sackcloth in the Old Testament meant you're mourning, you're regretful, you're feeling bad about it, you're regretful, you are in dire distress. Sackcloth, you wear that when somebody dies, when there is a massive event, and you know, you're just like, forget it. This is not the time to dress up. This is like, oh my goodness, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Wake up. The economy is going to crash very soon. Things are going to get so bad for women, especially with AI taking most of the jobs that women do, the soft jobs. Economically, less and less of us are going to be boasting about how financially set we are. More of us are going to realize we don't have children to help us with our legacy to go into old age. And we're going to be saying, where are the men? No man is going to be taking me in. And I am in a storm. Like things are bad. And no man wants to take me in. No man wants to commit anymore to monogamy and the state license. No. Therefore, they're not taking you in because that's the prerequisite, they say, for Western women, they say. And now the market has crashed. Continuing, verse 25. Your men will fall by the sword. There will be war. And your mighty ones in battle. And her gates will lament and mourn. And deserted, she will sit on the ground. My sisters, we are going to be left abandoned, sitting on the ground. But don't worry, because when we move forward to the next chapter, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, this is called the preparation of the remnant. This is called when Yah is restoring the daughters of Zion. This is a solution for us, coming back to the ancient ways. It's not a punishment. It's a solution to come back to polygyny, biblical polygyny. For at that time, verse 4, verse 1, for 7 women will take hold of one man in that day, saying, see, 7 women, talking about him having only one. He wants 7. Like 7 of us are going to be knocking at some guy's door, negotiating, because it continues. We will eat our own bread and wear our own clothes. That means financially, you don't even need to clothe us and take care of it. I mean, if you have it, great. But I have the means now because I'm a modern woman with my bags. And you know what? I want in so badly that I'm negotiating here. He said, listen, I don't want to be a burden to you. I don't want you to be a burden to you, brother. No. If he's a righteous man and you want into a covenant relationship because you know that outside are the harlots, the whores, the fornicators, the adulterers, you want inside to shelter inside with a righteous man as a husband, as a cover. You need to start negotiating because these men right now are waking up to the fact that monogamy, prescriptive monogamy, has been a scam. They didn't have to limit themselves to that, and they didn't have to sign up for no paper. So if you want in, you got to go in on their terms. And now we're going to be ready to go in very soon. That's why I keep on following us, because we're going to tell these brothers, we will take care of things. We'll take care of our own bread. We'll wear our own clothes. Just let us be called by your name. Let us be called by my name means I want to follow you. You're going to be my master, my husband. I will call myself by your last name so that I can take away the reproach. The reproach of what? Being single, being childless, being on the streets without a covering. This is the solution that Yah has already set in order for you, my sisters, and it's always been around. But now we've fallen so far away from it in the last days that we've forgotten what Yah had always set apart for us, and it was always a beautiful thing. But we've fallen way so far away that now Isaiah is prophesying that in the last days we'll go back, right? Because this is how, verse 2, in that day, the branch of the Lord will be what? Beautiful and glorious. Verse 2. And the fruit of the earth will be the pride and the adornment of the survivors of Israel. It will come about that he who is left in Zion and remains in Jerusalem will be called holy. Everyone who is recorded for life in Jerusalem. Now you can read the whole chapter, but this is a praise, this is a worship, because if you are recorded for life in the book of life, you're going to be following my sisters. You're going to be happy. You're going to be holy. You're going to be saved. You're going to be rescued. It reminds me, come to think of it. Remember the passage, and we're not going to go there, about the Passover and those who were saved when we got out of Egypt, before You know, they had to put the blood of the lamb over the door, and everybody that was inside the house was saved. And if you're outside, the angel of death killed you. Remember that passage in the Old Testament? That was the last plague that Moses gave to Pharaoh to let his people go, and y'all used that. It reminds me of that kind of desperation. We sisters want to be inside because the angel of death is out there to kill us. Kill, steal, and to destroy. Tell me I am wrong. Kill, steal, and to destroy, my sisters. If you are on the streets right now as a single woman with your hormones, with your naturally God-given hormones to reproduce, to have sex is a wonderful thing, you know, it's not outdated. You have these hormonal instincts that you want to be guided by man spiritually, emotionally. You also want to work with him because it's hard to struggle in this world alone. You know, my grandparents, they worked together and they produced and they were happy and content. And you miss it because right now you're with a dog and a cat alone with a glass of milk or wine. But it's not the same, right? You want to share life together. These are natural things. But you want to put all that, right? You have all that desire in you. And you're kind of like holding out for the one strange man in this modern society who will exchange you for monogamy and the license. He will take you in under those conditions. And I'm telling you, Isaiah predicted that is not going to happen. We are welcome to the crash. We are officially past this stage. Monogamy is outdated. I'm going to continually repeat this on Call for Wisdom. It is an old-fashioned way of doing things, prescriptive monogamy. There'll always be a few men who want to be celibate. There'll be some who decide to be eunuchs. And there will be some who will decide to be monogamous and choose to be so. And I hate to hear that excuse about finances, like, oh, a man would prefer to have more women, but he can't afford it. And a lot of women saying, oh, you can't afford to have another woman. Well, I just read Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1, because we are going to be knocking on their door saying, hey, forget about the money thing. You know, the money thing I told you that you had to have? You know, the time when I was telling you, man, you too dusty for me? Well, I take that back. I take that back, really. I really, yeah, I repent of that. I shouldn't have said that because I can make my way. I will work with you. I will work with you. We'll get by. That's the place we're at, my sisters. We will get there. We are getting there little by little, humbly by humbly saying, you know what? The man does not have to be the richest man in the world for him to take on another woman. As a matter of fact, we can work together. We'll actually spread the cost together. It'll be economically better for us, and we can manufacture at a quicker rate. Multiplication, not addition. We can multiply together, and I can feed myself, and I can feed your family too, and we can work together. We can work it out. And this is where we're going to go because I want to get inside, and I don't want to be one of those ladies left behind. All right. I think I have said I have said enough on this particular topic. I'm not finished with you yet, my sisters. Don't go too far. Come back, follow me, Call for Wisdom. My name is Deborah. Like and subscribe and share it if you dare to another sister so she can like say you are, you know, no, I know the sisters don't want to hear about this, but they're going to, because ready or not, it's here. So I'm just putting this in advance for those of you who eventually will wake up and they'll come back here and see it on Call for Wisdom. Me encouraging you as an elder sister to open your heart for polygyny. Read the Bible for yourself and realize that men are allowed to. You are committed to one husband. He is allowed to take in more than one wife. Okay? And we'll continue with that conversation. Leave a comment. Let me know. Do you think it's okay? Do you think it's like the market is fine, that hunky-dory, more people are going to get married? Or do you think that the marriage market has crashed? Monogamy is outdated. Prescription monogamy is outdated. Do you believe it's outdated and crashed? Or do you believe it's going to continue like it is and it's going to be all fine and dandy? Let me know in the comment section, and I will check you all out the next time on Call for Wisdom. Blessings, my sisters. Let me get out of here and see if I can get those roosters to stop crowing.